Welcome to Psychology for People in a Hurry. Today, we're diving into an idea that's woven so tightly into our lives we hardly notice it until someone points it out. It's a phenomenon that influences how we eat, shop, and even scroll. Trust me, by the end of this episode, you'll start spotting it everywhere. Let me paint a picture. You've just finished a big meal. You're full, satisfied. Yet somehow, when that bowl of chips or cookies appears, you find yourself reaching for it. Or here's another, your closet? Packed, overflowing. Yet the second you see the words sale, you're adding to cart. And then there's the classic, it's midnight, you've got work tomorrow, but somehow you're still scrolling, thinking, just one more video. Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. These moments often leave us filled with regret. But here's the thing. No one's forcing us. There's no external hand pushing us into these behaviors. It's all internal. We know we should stop, but we just can't. And that, my friends, is the grip of addiction. But hang on, this isn't about addiction in the traditional sense. It's about the everyday addictive behaviors creeping into our lives, fueled by something Michael Easter, author of Scarcity Brain, describes with unsettling accuracy. Michael Easter is a professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and he's made it his mission to help us understand why our brains are wired this way, and more importantly, how we can break free. Scarcity Brain is about fixing that craving mindset, rewiring those self-sabotaging habits, and learning to truly thrive with enough. Because, let's be real, how often do we actually feel like we have enough? Not just in a material sense, but in every aspect of life. Here's the deal. At its core, this book unpacks a deeply human problem. Our brains are constantly signaling scarcity. Even when we have more than enough, we're stuck chasing more. More food, more stuff, more validation, more scrolling. And this scarcity mindset? It's not just some quirky human habit, it's a survival mechanism. One that, unfortunately, isn't doing us many favors in today's world. So today, we're breaking this down into two parts. First, we're going to tackle why we have a scarcity brain, how it evolved, how it works, and why it seems so impossible to shut off. Then, we'll dive into the good stuff, strategies to break free from this cycle, and maybe even turn it into a superpower. But before we get into it, I want you to think about this. When was the last time you told yourself, I'll just check my phone for a minute, and then looked up to realize an hour had passed? Or when you bought something you didn't need because, hey, it was a great deal. Keep those moments in mind, because by the end of today's episode, you're going to have a whole new perspective on them. Ready? Let's go. Imagine it's thousands of years ago. There's no Instagram to scroll or Netflix to binge watch. You're out there, running 30 miles a day. Yes, 30 miles, looking for food. And here's the kicker. You have no idea if you'll actually find any. Maybe there's fruit on a tree. Maybe there's a rabbit. Or maybe there's nothing, and you go to bed hungry again. The humans who survived this world were the ones who never stopped looking, who always felt like they hadn't found enough. That constant drive? It's hardwired into our DNA. Fast forward to today, and here we are, living in a world of abundance. Yet that same ancient wiring is still running the show. We eat more than we need, binge-watch content, buy things we don't use, and refresh our feed like our lives depend on it. Why? Because our brains are still stuck in scarcity mode, whispering, what if there isn't enough tomorrow? But here's where it gets even crazier. This feeling of scarcity doesn't just sit in the background, it actively amplifies addiction. It puts us into a state of narrowed focus, where we become fixated on one thing to the exclusion of everything else. You know what I'm talking about. That one person you couldn't stop thinking about. That game you couldn't put down. That activity that had you hooked, even when you knew you should walk away. Sound familiar? Let's talk about what's happening chemically in your brain during these moments. Enter dopamine, the star of the show. You've probably heard of it as the feel-good chemical, but dopamine isn't just about making you happy. It's about driving you to pursue what makes you happy. That's a big difference. Let's say you've had a stressful day and you crack open a drink. Your brain goes, hey, that felt good. Let's do it again. The next time you're stressed, your brain releases dopamine, creating that craving for another drink. The same thing happens when you scroll through short videos, hit the jackpot on a slot machine, or even grab that extra handful of chips. Dopamine says, "More, please," and the cycle continues. Now, here's the twist. Some people have suggested we could control addiction by regulating dopamine release. But let me stop you right there. That's a non-starter. Dopamine doesn't just make you crave things. It's also involved in movement, immune function, and a bunch of other critical processes. Messing with it would throw your entire system into chaos. So, what do we do instead? To beat addiction, we need to understand the mechanisms driving it, and that's where the author of Scarcity Brain comes in. Michael Easter breaks it down into something he calls the scarcity loop, a 3-step process that traps us in these behaviors. And trust me, once you see this loop, you'll start spotting it everywhere. Step 1. Opportunity. This is the spark, the thing that promises to improve your life. Money, food, information, status, you name it. It's the reason you step into the loop in the first place. Think about slot machines. The opportunity? Winning money. That's what draws you in. Step 2. Unpredictable rewards. Here's the secret sauce. Predictable rewards don't hook us. You scratch an itch, it goes away, end of story. But when rewards are unpredictable, your brain lights up like a Christmas tree. Take the modern slot machine. You never know if you're going to win or how much you'll win. That suspense? That's what keeps you coming back. Step 3. Rapid repetition. This is where things really spiral. The easier it is to repeat a behavior, the faster you get trapped. Slot machines are designed for this. You press a button, the reels spin, and seconds later, you're ready to go again. There's no time to think, no time to pause. It's just action, reward, repeat. And here's the kicker. The intensity of the experience cranks everything up a notch. The tastier the food, the more addictive it becomes. The more jaw-dropping the video, the harder it is to stop scrolling. Modern products, whether it's snacks, social media, or slot machines, are engineered for maximum intensity, making them almost impossible to resist. Let's connect this to our daily habits. Take short videos, for example. The opportunity? Relaxation. The unpredictable rewards? Some videos make you laugh, while others fall flat. The rapid repetition? Just swipe, and the next one's already there. It's the perfect scarcity loop. The same goes for snacks. They're bite-sized, easy to eat, and designed to hit those pleasure centers hard. Or live stream shopping, those hosts mix great deals with duds, keeping you on the edge of your seat, wondering what's next. Every swipe, every bite, every spin, it's all part of the loop. Awareness is your first line of defense. When you recognize these scarcity loops in your life, you can start to disrupt them. Pause before you swipe. Walk away from the snack aisle. Give yourself space to think. And remember, it's not about never indulging. It's about breaking free from the autopilot mode that keeps you trapped. Now, let's dive into the second half of our journey into the scarcity brain, where things start to get really interesting. If you've ever wondered how to stop yourself from overindulging in habits you know aren't great for you, or if you're ready to not just break free from addiction, but actually thrive, you're in the right place. Let's face it, when we realize we've been over-consuming, whether it's food, content, shopping, whatever, our first instinct is to slam on the brakes, right? We tell ourselves, just stop. Eat less. Buy less. Watch less. Maybe we even hop on the minimalist train, convinced that less is the answer. But here's the thing. The author of Scarcity Brain calls BS on this. Minimalism? It's just another compulsion. Let me break it down for you. Whether you're hoarding or purging, both behaviors are driven by anxiety. Excessive accumulators are motivated by a scarcity mindset. They feel they have to hoard possessions to quiet that voice saying, "You don't have enough." On the flip side, minimalists? They're consumed by anxiety over disorder, trying to control everything in their environment. So, what's the solution? It's not about swinging wildly from one extreme to the other. It's about addressing the scarcity loop itself. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, what's the scarcity loop again? Don't worry, we're about to break it wide open. Step by step. Step 1. Opportunity. To break free, the first thing we have to do is eliminate exposure to temptations. Sounds simple, right? But let me tell you a story that illustrates just how powerful this can be. In the US, addiction to drugs and alcohol is a massive issue. But here's what's fascinating. By the age of 30, half of the people struggling with these addictions manage to quit on their own. How? Life changes. They get married, have kids, start careers. Their focus shifts, and suddenly, the opportunity to engage with those temptations is gone. No time for hangovers when you've got a toddler waking you up at 6 a.m., right? So, what does this mean for you? If you're addicted to short videos, leave your phone in another room before bed. If you can't stop snacking, stop buying the snacks. Change your environment. Build a new routine. When you take away the opportunity, you take away the first step of the loop. Step 2. Unpredictable rewards. We've talked about how unpredictability is the secret sauce for addiction. So, how do we flip the script? The key is to make rewards predictable. For example, research has shown that when hospitals administer painkillers at fixed doses and times, addiction rates drop. The same principle applies to our daily habits. Let's say you love watching short videos. Instead of letting them consume your evening, schedule half an hour during lunch or after dinner to indulge. By turning unpredictable rewards into predictable ones, their allure diminishes. The excitement fades, and you regain control. Step 3. Rapid repetition. This one's big. Modern life is designed for speed. Swipe, tap, click, everything happens in an instant. And that's exactly why it's so easy to get hooked. To escape, we need to slow things down. Think about this. When was the last time you lost yourself in a deep, meaningful movie or a novel? Those experiences aren't addictive because they unfold slowly, giving you time to savor them. The same goes for tasks that require effort, like assembling furniture. Sure, it's a pain in the moment, but afterward, you feel proud. That's the antidote to rapid repetition. Slow things down, and you break the loop. So, let's recap. To break free from the scarcity loop, you need to 1. Cut off exposure to temptations. 2. Transform random rewards into fixed ones. And 3. Slow down repetition. But here's the twist. This isn't just about solving problems. It's about building something better. It's about creating a life that's rich, fulfilling, and full of meaning. And that brings us to the abundance loop. This is where the magic happens. The abundance loop uses the same 3 steps as the scarcity loop, but it flips the approach completely. Let's break it down. Step 1, opportunity. But instead of engaging with temptations, we engage with the real world. Think about the last time you connected with nature or had a deep conversation with someone you care about. Didn't it feel complete? Research backs this up. In one study, researchers released a group of pigeons addicted to food rewards into the wild. When recaptured, the pigeons had overcome their addiction. Why? Because they'd received enough stimulation in the wild to satisfy them. Humans are the same. When we're stimulated by meaningful experiences, nature, relationships, real-world challenges, we stop chasing shallow pleasures. Step 2. Unpredictable rewards. This is where we inject joy into life. Plan a trip without an itinerary. Explore a new city without Yelp or Google Maps dictating your every move. Leave room for serendipity. And here's the kicker. You can apply this to work and family, too. Surprise your team with an unexpected day off. Treat your kids to an unplanned ice cream outing. These unpredictable, positive rewards inspire and motivate, creating deeper connections and joy. Step 3. Rapid repetition. This is where life naturally slows us down. Real-world tasks take effort. They take time. But that's a good thing. Break big projects into smaller milestones and celebrate each win along the way. Divide a major goal into smaller steps and relish each moment of progress. When you create opportunities to experience the joy of achievement in real life, the appeal of shallow rewards fades. When you start living in the abundance loop, when you embrace meaningful opportunities, create joyful unpredictability, and slow down to savor the journey, you'll find that shallow, addictive pleasures lose their grip on you. You'll stop scrolling, stop hoarding, stop chasing, because you won't need to anymore. Scarcity isn't inherently bad. In fact, when used wisely, it can be a powerful force for good. Take creativity, for example. In one experiment, people influenced to feel scarcity came up with more creative solutions than those who felt abundance. Why? Because scarcity forces us to use what we have, to think outside the box. It also drives exploration. Our scarcity-driven brains are the reason we've discovered new lands, invented new technologies, and built the world we live in today. But here's the catch. Scarcity is a double-edged sword. If you let it control you, it leads to addiction and excess. But if you harness it, it can fuel creativity, innovation, and progress. The key is staying in the driver's seat, recognizing when scarcity is working for you and when it's working against you. Let's wrap it all up with a deep dive into what we've learned and, more importantly, how you can use this knowledge to transform your life. We started with one big question: why do people get addicted to shallow pleasures? And the answer lies in something ancient, something primal, our scarcity mindset. This instinct, hardwired into us through evolution, drives us to always want more, even when we already have enough. It's why we scroll, shop, snack, and binge on autopilot. It narrows our focus, traps us in obsessive loops, and makes us chase fleeting joys instead of lasting fulfillment. Now, let me get real with you. Reflecting on my own life, I can pinpoint moments where I fell into this trap. Times when work felt overwhelming, when life seemed out of control, when the weight of not enough made me reach for anything that could give me a quick hit of relief. Shopping for things I didn't need. Watching endless short videos. Playing games long past the point of fun. Sound familiar? If you're nodding right now, know this: you're not alone. Here's the thing: addiction isn't random. It follows a predictable pattern, the scarcity loop. And this loop has 3 steps: opportunity, unpredictable rewards, and rapid repetition. When all 3 are present, you're primed for addiction. Think about it. You see an opportunity to feel better. The rewards are random enough to keep you guessing. And the cycle repeats so quickly, you don't even realize you're caught. Boom. Hooked. But here's where things get exciting. We've also talked about how to break this loop. First, the basics. Avoid opportunities for temptation. Keep your phone out of the bedroom and stop stocking your pantry with junk food. Change your environment to make those triggers harder to access. Second, take the unpredictability out of rewards. Schedule your indulgences. Watch those short videos during a set time. Make your treats predictable, and they'll lose their power over you. And third, slow down the repetition. When you're building IKEA furniture or getting lost in a thought-provoking book, you're naturally breaking the loop. You're savoring the process instead of rushing to the next dopamine hit. But wait, there's more. This isn't just about breaking bad habits. It's about building something better. Enter the abundance loop. It's the same 3 steps, flipped on their heads. Instead of shallow opportunities, look for deeper, more meaningful ones. Step into the real world. Engage with nature, connect with people, and seek out experiences that feed your soul, not just your cravings. Next, embrace the unpredictability of life, but this time in a positive way. Leave room for surprises. Wander off the beaten path. Let the thrill of discovery replace the monotony of routine. Finally, make real-life wins feel rapid and rewarding. Break big goals into smaller steps and celebrate each victory along the way. Whether it's finishing a chapter of a book, completing a workout, or having a meaningful conversation, these little wins add up to something much bigger. And here's the twist. Scarcity isn't the villain. It's a tool. It's the driving force behind creativity and exploration. When resources are scarce, we innovate. When we feel that pull for more, we push boundaries, solve problems, and discover new possibilities. The key is to steer that energy in the right direction. So here's the challenge for everyone. Don't let scarcity control you. Recognize it, harness it, and transform it into something that drives growth instead of addiction. Cultivate self-awareness. Foster a sense of inner abundance. And watch as your actions naturally align with what's truly meaningful. Now, let me ask you this. What does enough truly mean to you? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. If this episode sparked a new way of thinking, give it a like and hit subscribe for more insights that challenge the way we see the world. Together, let's redefine abundance, one step at a time. Stay mindful, stay curious, and remember, you've got this.